I think that success is everything for a human being. But how you look at successfulness or success is a different matter. I have a simple theory. It's called worst case scenario theory. So worst case scenario theory is something that gives you courage. Bigger the risk, higher the returns. So that's the entrepreneurial world we live in. We have been from the day we were born, we were told that we are a developing country, and one day you will be a first world country, but still you are third world. So now I am
I heard that enough.
Yeah, 5 decades now. So we keep hearing this.
All right, welcome back to the Quest for Success podcast, and thank you so much for tuning in once again. As you might notice, we're in a different location to last week. Last week we were in America, and then this week we are in the beautiful Sri Lanka, here for a little holiday, but we thought while we're here, we'll try and make the most of the opportunity and talk to some of the people who inspire us here, and we are so grateful that we've been able to sit down with both of our great inspirations, Mr. Dilith Jayaweera. Dilith, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Dylan, for inviting me for this show, Quest for Success.
Yeah, so Dilith and I know each other for a few decades, almost 3 decades now. And someone, as Dylan mentioned, someone really inspired me. He started with nothing, and now he's one of the top business men in Sri Lanka. And actually, he's doing other things as well, so we can talk all about it. And thank you so much, Dilith, again, joining us. We are very much looking forward to have this conversation.
Thank you.
So, Dilith, to start this conversation off, it's all about success, right? But in order for us to kind of work through this conversation, we need to understand a core part of what we're going to talk about, which is success.
Yes.
So I want to start with the question, what does success mean to you?
Dylan, it's actually a feeling, right? Success is a state, a mental state, and for me, it's a feeling that sometimes you can't describe, and for me, success doesn't necessarily mean the business success. I look at the 360 degree of my life. And then I want to know whether I'm successful in terms of how I get that feeling. But for me to sort of describe it a little more, if I do something, whatever, it may be a cup of tea, and as you know, probably Jam knows that I like to cook. So it's that feeling that you get it right, and then you feel good. And then you feel successful in that little thing that you do. Sometimes when people, especially in the business world, people talk success in a very narrow way, in a narrow definition. So for me, it's a massive thing. I think that success is everything for a human being. But how you look at successfulness or success is a different matter.
I think that's really interesting. So it's not just about the big picture. It's also about the little things.
Oh, very much.
And so what we've found is through our conversations is people are very much shaped by their early days.
Yes.
And so I'd like to go back to your beginning. Yes. And could you take us through a little bit about your childhood, where you grew up, and how your parents influenced you?
Dylan, it's really true, because I grew up in a village. In a Sri Lankan context, village, and I was born to a family where my parents were government servants. In Sri Lankan context, government servants mean they are not very wealthy, controlled finance. They have. Yep. I mean, they don't have much, and Jam knows it's the hard reality is that you have to work with a very small budget. I had 3 brothers, and with me 4, and two government servants can't really afford the the luxury, or little more than even the basics.
Basics, yeah.
Yeah. And so we sort of live through that life and realize hardships in terms of material requirements in your life, and you compare with your friends what you don't have and stuff like that. But that probably would have put that little thought in my mind that you need to make money.
Yeah.
You need to have money. I don't know. I mean, I'm now assuming that would have been the reason why that I really wanted to quickly get into some business or the other from the time that I was like an adult. I mean, like a teenager. That's one. And the other thing is that I lived as I said, in a village where the value system was very different. So when you live in a rural setup, interdependency of the people in a village is very, very different, and closely knitted. It has pluses and minuses, but it's a closely knitted society, and where you need to help each other a lot. And during my early days of the life as a kid, I realized that without the support of the rest of the villagers, it's very difficult to live. Especially my father had paddy fields and a small little plot of tea and stuff like that. To get the labor, I mean, now it is very different. But those days, you really depend on that labor from the village, and sometimes it's on a barter system. No?
Yeah.
You get them to sort of come and work in the paddy field, and then in turn that you give them rice at the end of the harvest. So I mean that all those things are still in my mind, and I value them. Then I shift to Colombo, which is the capital of Sri Lanka, as a university student. So then I see it differently. It's like there's a big difference between my village and the capital city of Sri Lanka. Then I see, as we always talk, I see challenges, and I interpret all the challenges as opportunities. I keep trying to sort of convert them to, at that time, to make a little bit of money as a university student, and that gave me the inspiration and the first few breaks.
So do you think that your father, even he was a government worker, he is doing other things, maybe getting some additional funds, like you were talking about having a paddy fields. And so that kind of inspired you as well,
in a way, yes, but that really is my father's inspiration. Didn't come from really the kind of things that he did outside his job. My father and my three brothers, my three other brothers, they are not entrepreneurial at all.
Okay.
They're all, my brothers may not like me saying this, but the truth is that they all do jobs,
and they're happy with that job.
They're happy with their jobs, and two of them live in Australia, and one is living here, and he's a doctor, and of course he's attached to the Air Force. But even my father was, I don't see him as like a very entrepreneurial person, but they're good people. Goodness was their main thing. My father, if there's one thing that he gave all of us, and I picked up, I think, more than the others, that his sort of socialist thinking, and sort of people have to share things, and selflessness, and also the underlying honesty in whatever they do. These things have impacted my life a lot. Otherwise, I would have been very, very different in a commercial world. I may not have been as successful as I am in terms of my level of happiness today. So that is a different inspiration. But my entrepreneurial journey or the inspiration really didn't come from any one of those family members, or I don't think it came from my family genes or anything. It's just
Absolutely, because you're totally different to everybody, right?
That's correct.
In your family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a question. How did you get that?
No, I think it is. I always think every one of us are entrepreneurial. Every human being is in a way entrepreneurial. It's just that how you sort of in your life face real challenges and opportunities, as we call it, or then how you become at times desperate.
Yeah, absolutely.
You become desperate, and as a result, that you are forced to think.
Survival. Fight.
Yeah, it's human nature. I think
so
that's
you had more opportunities than your brothers and...
No, because actually I came to Colombo at that time, immediately after the JVP insurgency. You remember 88, 89 insurgency, the youth were like being abducted and being killed. So during that time, so it was like anyway a challenging environment, But as I said, I wanted to make little more money than my parents, I knew that money could sort of give you
more options. Yeah,
Dylan?
And so after you finished your university?
No, actually, Dylan, I didn't finish my university.
Right, so tell us what happened.
Long before, just as I did my, we call it advanced level, our school education, as we ended our school education. I was waiting for the results to get the university entrance. During that time only, I started an insurance agency,
And where did the idea for that come from?
No, actually, it's actually a fluke. A friend of mine's father was an organizer who has a few insurance agents with him. So he asked me whether I could be one. So I said, of course, because it's a very lucrative business, being an insurance agent. So I was like really, really fascinated with this within first few months, and I started getting money. So I got the taste of money, I must say that, I'm being honest. So then with that, then I realized, there are many things that you can do. So then I come to Colombo. Then the university is still closed. I came for that, there is a mandatory English course. So I had to attend that English course. And parallel to that, I started working in a pharmacy as a salesman.
I also learned a lot doing that.
Oh yeah, I learned a lot about medicine. And then I started doing my pharmacy diploma.
All right.
And there I learned that you can do trading of pharmaceuticals, So I started trading, small time trading, where I buy things from the wholesaler. And since I have now little cash flow, positive cash flow, I use that to leverage the trade and go and give it to a pharmacy, and I give them credit. If they directly buy it from them, they have to pay cash. So I give them credit. So I roll the money. So that was pretty successful. Then the university is properly started. I went to the university, but I did not have much interest. Anyway, I went to the law faculty of Colombo University, and anyway, I didn't want to be a practicing lawyer, though I wanted to be a lawyer to make my parents happy. Then I was looking at, now every time I look at options, opportunities and opportunities. And then slowly, I got into advertising when I was in the second year. Then started the advertising agency. From there to the printing to color separation, like that. And 18 companies, within first 5-6 years, we had like anything to do with advertising, you start a company. That's called backward integration. No? I properly backwardly integrated up to 18 companies, and those were like color separations, photography separate company, television production separate company, audio production, then the printing needs color separations. then you need screen printing, then you do outdoor advertising.
Wow.
So
Do it all.
like that.
So end to end.
Yeah, and all backward integrated. Up until the war ended, we were only backward integrated business operation. Then I started taking bigger risks, started few other companies, and started acquiring companies, and started taking risks in terms of taking big bank loans. By that time, I was really not working on bank loans as such. We were very cash rich, and also I was a bit scared to take huge risks. Anyway, Dylan, any more?
Yeah. So when did you really get the breakthrough? Like, I mean,
The
biggest,
biggest
big. So
there had been few breakthroughs. The biggest breakthrough in terms of making money and becoming more popular, famous, or whatever as a brand for Triad, it was a political campaign we did in 2004 called Rata Perata. It was a political campaign. Till then, we didn't do political advertising at all. I was against doing political advertising, but this I thought as like a major opportunity.
yeah, you taking the country forward. That was the campaign.
And that's what on one hand, taking country forward. On the other hand, we were being paid well.
Yeah.
And it's a massive challenge. It's only a big advertising company can only do it. So suddenly I felt really we are big now, to a point that someone wants the president of the country at that time, Madam Chandrika Bandaranaike, hired us to do the campaign in 2004. That's a massive break, and we made money. Plus, we became very, very famous.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to jump on quickly and say a massive thank you for all of the support so far. But I also wanted to ask a favor of you guys. We want this podcast to reach as many people as possible so that we can share all of the incredible learnings that we've had so far. But in order for us to do that, we need to grow our following to beat the algorithms. But the good news is, however, there is one simple thing that you can do to help us reach that goal. So I ask you, if you could please follow or subscribe to us on whatever channel you're listening to this on. It'll help us grow the channel, which means we can get on bigger and better guests for you guys. And with that, back to the episode.
Yeah. So people don't really know Dilith. Before he started what he's doing now, let's talk about that a little later. He had 53, he still got 53 business, and he's one of the most successful businessmen in Sri Lanka. And he also has the most popular TV channel.
Yeah, see, it's in that backward integration journey. I think if you start with an advertising agency, I don't think it has happened anywhere in the world. An integration to this extent. We finally started a television channel, and that became undoubtedly and unarguably the number one TV channel in Sri Lanka. Is a terrestrial TV channel, and we run a 24/7 news channel. Then now we own broadsheets, 9 broadsheets newspapers. Wow. With island-wide reach, and in 3 languages. As you know, in Sri Lanka, you have English, Sinhala, and Tamil. I don't think anyone has gone to the extent of us in terms of backwardly integrating. But today, if I create an ad, it can end up in our own channel tonight, or tomorrow night, or in the newspapers. Then we have a radio station, number 1 radio station. And if you take our digital verticals, we are number 1 again. We have that many number of brands under our digital verticals. So it's really, really big now.
Yeah. And on that point, it sounds like you kind of went from zero to hero without kind of learning from the outside. like, what I mean by that, but is formative learning. You didn't go to a business school or anything like that, right? So I want to know, is there any...
Of course, I did an MBA, but it's like,
it's not a certification.
It's not certification.
So I want to know, were there any mentors along your journey that helped shape you?
No one.
No one. So is it all purely from experience then?
No, see, it's like this, Dylan. I must share that with you and your viewers. One thing, I have a simple theory. It's called worst case scenario theory. So worst case scenario theory is something that gives you courage. And I only analyze every time I get a new idea. Worst case scenario, whether I'll still have my vehicle, whether I'll still have my house, whether I still have enough money to live. I mean, beyond that, you take risks,
Yeah.
You can only move up. You can't come down, right?
Yeah.
You if you're protected, your basic.
If you're still there, those things are there.
So, see, that's what Dylan in this game, very important. If anyone asks me, what is entrepreneurship and this risk-taking thing that you're talking about, is to say that you draw the baseline. You can't go beyond or below that line.
Yeah.
On top of that, you can take any risk. You can do anything you want. You just don't. I mean, example. Let's say that the TV station that I want to do something, right? I'll take. I want to. Let's say I want to play some music or something that will be controversial. Probably that will kill your brand or whatever. One might think, this guy is now suddenly getting into a genre which is going to be controversial. So I would look at it this way. I mean, if it works, it can take you to the next level. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't work, the worst case scenario is what? Okay, you close down. So it's not going to be end of everything.
That's not it.
End of everything. So that's how bigger the risk, higher the returns. So that's the entrepreneurial world we live in.
That's a really interesting point.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting point. And do you think throughout your journey, if you look back to your younger self and you had 30 seconds with him, what would you tell him?
Oh yeah, I could have taken bigger risks at my early ages.
But do you think that's part of the journey, is building up to that and not taking the risks? Like, you have to learn your risk appetite, right?
No, but I think I missed some opportunities. I'm not that I regret.
Yeah.
Now that you asked me, what would you have done? I could have taken those risks.
So Dilith, talking about risk. So recently, you decided to go into a different path.
Politics.
Tell us about what you do now.
See, it's like this. I don't know whether anyone else is using this word in the world.
Yeah.
This term. I call it entrepreneurial politics. I don't know, Dylan, have you heard of this before? I mean, I haven't heard of it. So I thought I would call it entrepreneurial politics. What it means to me or to anyone, it should mean, or how I describe this is, I take risks creatively and push the political boundaries, to the next level. Otherwise, it's the same old thing. Mm-hmm. And in a Sri Lankan context, we have been like, from the day we were born, we were told that we are a developing country. And one day you will be a first world country, but still you are third world. So now I am like...
I heard that enough.
5 decades now. So we keep hearing this. What's wrong with this? What is the issue? So now the way I understand this is that we need to get politicians to the game, or at least we have to get people with this entrepreneurial mind to politics.
Yeah.
So my whole challenge is to get more and more new people who are creative and think differently than the mundane, the political characters that you see. And now in Sri Lanka, like you become politicians as a part of like that process of you have been someone helping somebody in a village and you're not like,
doing favors
doing
to one. Yeah.
whatever. I mean, it should not be so. It should be get the top-notch people to politics in Sri Lanka. So mine is that I had to break that barrier. Actually, no one ever expected me to get into politics because from their point of view, I'm already successful. Yeah. There is no reason for me to get into politics.
You don't have anything to gain out of
I don't have anything to gain. But what I am trying to gain is something much bigger. As you first asked me, and what success means to you.
Yep.
It is like, it's a mindset. It's all about happiness. So I already feel successful in my political journey. I contested for presidency this time. Not that I got much votes, but even that the little votes that I got and pushed me to the next level.
Yep.
And then I am now contesting in our general elections. I think we'll get much better results. Yep. So I think we will be the most dynamic political force in Sri Lanka very soon.
Dilith, you're talking about entrepreneurial nation. Do you think people are ready in Sri Lanka?
See, there is nothing called people are going to be ready. I mean, we have to. I mean, when you when let's say a tobacco company came to Sri Lanka and people were not ready to smoke, and they got people to smoke. When the carbonated soft drinks, I don't want to mention brands because but then they came to Sri Lanka and they got people to drink carbonated soft drinks.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can't wait till the people are ready. You have to prepare them.
Yeah.
You have to prepare them for that change. Yeah. So I am of a firm belief that we can really change the people of Sri Lanka. We have a higher level of IQ compared to the region. Actually, compared to most of the countries in the world. So we have to work on that and use that intelligence to get something better and bigger for Sri Lanka.
And having this glimpse into politics, coming from a business background, having the glimpse into politics, what has it taught you? Because I feel like it's like hidden behind closed doors to everyone else. And there's so much secrecy that goes on in politics. What have you seen coming from this entrepreneurial mindset about politics in general?
See, Dylan, now that you see politics as something very, very remote from, from you. It's something very confidential, very secretive.
Yeah.
Actually, when you walk into that, it is not so. It's just that you and I have not ever sort of decided to walk into that and really to explore the reality behind politics. See, now that I am in it, I know it's just a perception. You deal with very ordinary people. And they are not that they have the capacity to even, in my opinion, major capacity to conspire or anything like that. These are natural events and they cash on those and then they come out to be like heroes and dons of whatever. I think it's a universal truth, but we in Sri Lanka can see a fresh change with this kind of sudden paradigm shifts.
Definitely.
You need that. Like shocks.
Yeah. And you were talking about, you need to bring this to the people because they're not going to decide it on their own. So I want to know, from your perspective, how do you inspire people? How do you, coming from this new paradigm shift, as you say...
it's one basic principle that I use in this game is one big reality. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be cared for. Everybody wants to be. Everybody wants someone to listen to them. So I use the same insight. So I want to be their friend, their brother, your father, and to sort of work on that philosophy, to give them that feeling. Listen.
Hear their voice.
Yeah, listen that, I am here to listen to you. And with that, you create that bond. That bond will help you to convince someone. Because convincing has two aspects: facts and emotions. I can tell you, Dylan, million times something, but if you are not emotionally linked to me, you will reject the message. That's how the religions work on the world. It's the emotional angle.
Empathy.
Empathy and emotional angle of it. So I think I am building that emotional bond with the people so that I can convince them and prepare them for this change.
And how do you differentiate yourself? Because for me, politics is a lot of talk. So you're talking about, you can tell them the facts, but how do you show that you're not just going to be another talker?
Yeah, see, that's important. See, this is the thing, the differentiator. As we talk about, you have to be different. See, if I say something in my politics, I really want to deliver, even the slightest thing. If I promise someone that I was going to see him, I want to somehow go and see him. If I promise something little that I am going to give, even maybe a kid, if I promise something, I want to really deliver. Because that will first immediately differentiate yourself from the rest. If I say something, I do it. So that's what I want to stick to as a basic philosophy of my politics. So, yeah.
So, Dilith, you mentioned your simple strategy for anything in your life is worst case scenario. What would be the worst case scenario with politics?
See, I have nothing to lose in this game.
Yeah.
I am not going into it for money or fame, for that matter.
Yep.
If at all, if I want to enjoy fame, when you own a television station, I can show myself any million times. I have never done that.
Yeah.
I have never used that tactic. I want to lead my simple life, but worst case scenario, I can keep losing. I still enjoy that. I enjoy the journey, not the destination.
Absolutely.
So there is nothing for me to sort of lose in this game. I can be happy that at the right age in my life, I took the decision to do something for the people, and I tried. I may fail in achieving the ultimate objective in Sri Lankan terms to become the president. But it's not going to make. Even if I become the president tomorrow, it's not going to change my life. It's not that I am not going to get free foreign travel or something, or some luxury, something, nothing.
Yeah. So this is a really interesting question, because this is not just a show, right? I know you for like last 30 years, and then the very first day I saw you, and now you're a very successful man, is same.
Yeah.
How do you maintain that? Sometimes when you have how many thousand people working for you right now?
5,000
plus, right? Direct employees working for you.
Yeah, maybe, but indirectly, maybe about even 10,000.
I've noticed, right? Going everywhere with you, these are your mates working for you. It's not, you don't even treat them as employees, right?
Really not.
And if people don't know you, they don't believe what we are talking here, right? I know you very well. That simple man that I saw 30 years ago is same. I don't know how you maintain that.
No, it's like this, Jam. You got to define your happiness.
Yeah.
So I think my definition of happiness is, for me, happiness is a lot to do with your environment. You can't be happy on your own. If you are to be happy, you have to make sure the people around or the beings around you are happy.
Yeah.
It may be a dog or a cat or the one who prepares tea for you, or your chauffeur, or your chief executive. So I try hard to try hard to keep them happy.
Yeah.
So that's why I opted for the flat hierarchy as I started my businesses. So ours is like a completely flat hierarchy. So you feel you are part of them. You are not their boss. And then the other thing is that the sort of stereotyping.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to stereotype anyone and think I want to be like so and so.
Yeah.
I want to be that boss.
Yeah.
I want to be sort of treated and treated differently. See, as you have observed, over 30 years, I want to tell you a very interesting story. If you want to be happy in this journey, you have to be like equal. It's not from socialist perspective or any bullshit like that.
Yeah.
When I just started the first company Triad, I met someone, a general manager of a hotel, and I learned one thing from him. I don't think he had the guts, the guts that I have to sort of get anyone to call you by first name.
Yeah.
Sri Lankan context is a big thing.
It's a big deal, yeah.
Big thing, if you can get your driver to call you by your first name, it's a massive thing.
Yeah.
Which I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am
I've
successful
seen-
at. So he told me, see, as a general manager of this hotel, I can get anything done from my staff. Just as I walk out for a walk from this gate out, the hotel gate, he can hammer me, he can do anything to me. I'm an employee of his, and I am so helpless because we both are equal.
Yeah.
So he said, that's a hard reality. If you apply that in life,
Yeah.
basically you are not taking any risk, because you treat them so well.
Yeah.
And also on the other hand, there are many instances and examples where your subordinates can achieve much bigger things in life, and then you can be sort of, if you don't treat them well, you will really regret in life. Why didn't I treat him that way?
Yeah.
Today he's really gone so far.
I don't see you lose anything by treating people
Nah.
nice. Yeah,
not
being
at all.
kind.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah, that's people don't understand that. That's
Yeah,
sad.
it's sad.
Yeah.
Very sad. They should learn from us.
Yeah.
Dylan, any more questions?
I want to know, just like
Either the last question? No. No questions?
For me, this podcast is all about trying to learn as much as possible from people I'm inspired by. And so I want to know, if you were in my shoes, are there any skills that you would be trying to learn now to put myself in a better position later on?
See, it's always, I think, when you meet people, you have to pick the biggest trait. If you really want to pick something from a person, you can't get many, because every successful person, in terms of like business success or material success or professional success, I'm talking about, everyone has something very unique. So you must try to pick that little trait. Not that you are going to, follow that, use it. But when you try to understand traits in people, that's very helpful in terms of your approach to business or any social activity, whatever you do, because that many people and their traits can enrich, your universe, technically. The other thing is that, Dylan, you don't need to make the mistake that someone else has already made. So must always try to talk to people and see what mistakes that they have done.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to make the same mistake. You can do a different mistake. It's a different matter. But you don't have to. If Dilith has done these mistakes, and I'm convinced that he shouldn't have done it, but he had done it. Oh, I wouldn't do those mistakes.
Yeah.
So that's important.
Yeah. Don't recreate the past. Just try and improve on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it's late and I don't want to take up any more of your time, but last question. Do you feel successful?
Yeah, I feel very successful. I feel every moment in my life, I really enjoy this feeling of being successful in many, many different ways. As I said, state of mind, as I said at the beginning. I feel very successful in terms of the way I deal with people. As you said, the deal with my family, the deal with society at large, or deal with stakeholders, and finally the material things that I have basically got around me. All that makes me feel successful.
And people around you as well.
People,
Awesome.
always. It's number one, but I'm saying generally.
Yeah. And so throughout our conversation, I've been jotting down a few things.
Yeah.
And so the first one that I've got, and like these are
What's
things...
your scorecard?
Yeah. So the first one I've got is you appreciate the small things.
Yeah.
Even though you've achieved so much material success and business success, you still take time to appreciate the people around you, the small interactions that you have. And I think that comes back to just
Little things are big.
And it's just like a sum of a lot of little things equals a big thing, right? And so the other one I've got is you look at challenges as opportunities.
Yes.
And we heard that so many times throughout the conversation.
Yes.
And I truly think that's probably the biggest thing that differentiates you.
Correct.
Is you're always looking at
That's correct.
the challenges. How can you grow from them?
Yeah.
How can you're in so many positions where you could have just kind of given up, but you took that as an opportunity, and
100%.
Your success is definitely because of that. And I think as part of that is you have the hustle to do that. A lot of people might identify the opportunities, but do nothing with it. You not only identified them, but also took action on them.
Yeah, that's very important, Dylan. Not that other people don't see these opportunities. Some people, I'm saying, not all of them.
Yep.
But a lot of people see this opportunity and they don't do anything about it.
They don't have the guts to, Yeah.
And I think that's because of your risk appetite.
Yeah,
You're so
100%.
You're so comfortable. You know where your baseline is, as you said. You know where your threshold is, and anything above that, you're willing to take the risks.
Yeah.
And that gives you that hustle to go and take those risks. And the last one I've got is integrity. You mentioned something there, and I couldn't agree with it more. Of when you say you're going to do something, you do it. And right now is a perfect example. You told us that you would sit down and have a conversation with us, and it's 11:30 at night. You could have said, we'll do this another day. But you told us that you would do it, and you stuck to your word.
100%.
And
That's me.
I sincerely, I really, really appreciate it. I know you're a busy man, so I'm very thankful that we got to sit down and have this conversation. And you, as I said before, you're an inspiration to both of us, and I'm really glad that we can share these learnings with our guests. So thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And last
And
thing,
Dylan, don't forget that I have given you your initial seed capital. I'm waiting till you make bigger money.
This is a long story from a long time ago. I think we had pizza one night, and there was
Dylan was only about 5 years old.
maybe 10 years old, and there was a bit of leftover money.
No, less than that.
Less
Five.
than.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of leftover money, and Uncle Dilith gave that to me, and so he holds that over my head every time I see him as the capital he's invested in me, and he's waiting for his return. So
my returns.
one day. So maybe help blow this podcast up, and then maybe we'll be able to return the money.
Yeah, and also I want to say, for people, like you're a very selfless, person. You could have lived the comfortable life and continue to grow this business and, expand into other countries. Why not, right? Take the whole globe. But you decided to stay within the country, help people, right? I don't know how many people appreciate that. I mean, so to me, you have a purpose. You're a very purposeful person. And we wish you very well, Dilith. And thanks again for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
And
Dylan and Jam.
Thank you. And if you aren't already, please consider subscribing and following us. You can do that at the Quest for Success Pod, or head over to our website, thequestforsuccesspodcast.com, where you can see all of our episodes. And on that note, we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you.